Hey everyone, we'll be getting started here in just a few more minutes. We'll start right at 5 o'clock. Thank you. Hey, hope everyone can hear me. We'll be getting started here in just another minute. All right, great. Hopefully you guys can now see me as well. We're going to discuss today about our Cirrus Training Center program here at Pilotsmith. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to talk about the renter requirements here at Pilotsmith, the new customer process, someone who hasn't flown Cirrus before that's coming on board, previous training they might have done, private pilot training that they might do with us, transition training, instrument rating training, advanced transition training, break down what we call types, and then we're also going to break down the Cirrus SR models, how it kind of applies to the different transition training courses. We're also going to talk about the different Cirrus avionics packages. We're also going to talk about a little bit about if you had previous Cirrus experience, let's say you flew the SR-20 G6 and you wanted to go to the SR-22T G6, we'll talk about that. And we'll also talk about avionics to avionics differences, where if you flew maybe an SR-20 Avidyne and now you wanted to hop into the SR-20 G6 with the Perspective Plus, about how that would look. We're also going to talk about what you would do if you had avionics and model differences. We're going to talk about our rental privileges terms, the SR-22 rental requirements, end of course checks, and then finally costs. So a lot to go over tonight. I'm actually going to try to squeeze this into about a 30-minute time frame. If I can, we'll see. Thank you. First part, questions. All right, I know questions are going to come up. How we're doing them is we got this email box, help@pilotsmith.com. You shoot your question over to that email address. If we have time at the end of this, we will get to that question. But if we couldn't answer the question, you will get a response. We'll reach out to you and give you a response to your question. So let's talk about the renter requirements for renting the Cirrus aircraft at Pilotsmith and most Cirrus training centers. So all customers must have transition training. This is a requirement at all Cirrus training centers that rent Cirrus aircraft. Transition training must be done by either a Cirrus training center, a CSIP, or a Cirrus factory instructor. So if you went with John Q, who's not a CSIP or working with a CTC or a Cirrus factory instructor, that transition training does not count. It has to be done by someone authorized by Cirrus to perform that transition training. You must have a certificate or binder showing that transition training was complete. There used to be binders a while back, and you would have gotten that training manual from the person who did your training. Now there are certificates. Either one is acceptable. We do need one of those, and we'll talk a little bit about this. This is required to rent our aircraft. So if you wanted to rent it for solo without an instructor on board, you have to have gone through an official transition training program. Additionally, Pilotsmith customers must be flying club members as well if you're renting one of our aircraft. So let's talk about previous training. So if you don't have your certificate and you had transition training before, you need to contact the trainer. They should have a training binder that you can receive from them. A logbook entry is not good enough. If you're unable to obtain a certificate or binder, it's not valid. I would suggest at that point reaching out to our regional training manager, Amy Voss, talking with her and seeing what she can do. We want to make sure we're doing things the right way, but that would be the steps we would pursue. Let's talk about the new customer process. So you're coming on board as a Cirrus customer, and there's 3 different pathways you can go down. So you're not yet pilot rated, you're pilot rated, not instrument rated, and you're pilot rated, instrument rated. So let's talk about the different transition training courses you would go through in order to be able to get access to the aircraft or at that point. So private pilot training, that's the easiest one, right? So you started off, you've never flown Cirrus before, or you have, but you're still pursuing your private pilot's license. You can do all your private pilot training in the Cirrus SR20 at Pilotsmith. We can do all of it. You're going to purchase a course in Cirrus Approach, which I'll show you at the end of this demonstration, Cirrus Approach. You're going to purchase an SR20 Perspective Plus Transition VFR course. You're going to complete that course before you earn your pilot's license. You'll actually complete the course before you solo the aircraft the first time. That lets us rent the aircraft to you so you can build those solo hours that you need for flight training. It'll be a pretty cool little program. You're going to love Cirrus Approach if you haven't used it before. They have all kinds of amazing videos in there. We'll show one of those videos today and kind of give you like a little sample of what Cirrus Approach looks like. So, pilot rated. You need to complete a VFR transition course if you're not an instrument rated and you're going into the Cirrus world, and we're going to talk about what that VFR transition course looks like for you. So the VFR transition training is a 6 half-day instructor portion course. Now, that can be 3 full days, 6 half days. It also can be done hourly as you need as well. But figure on about 20 to 24 hours of instructor time in order to get through that VFR transition training. Now that's a mixture of ground and flight. That's not in the airplane for 22, 24 hours. There's required online content through Cirrus Approach that has to be completed before beginning the training course program. So it's approximately 7 hours of flight time, 2 hours in the AATD, 9 hours aircraft time. Ground time, you've probably got another 5 to 9 hours of ground time with the instructor, with instructor-led ground training, and then you probably have about 2 to 5 hours of pre- and post-flight briefings in there. There's about 10 hours of self-study, videos and workbook for this course. The course that you're going to get for to be able to fly, for instance, in our SR20 G6, from Cirrus Approach, you would take the SR20 Perspective Plus Transition VFR course on Cirrus Approach. You get that course from Cirrus Approach. At the end of the course, you're allowed only to fly VFR in Cirrus aircraft at Cirrus training centers. Let's talk about instrument rating. So you're already a private pilot. Let's say you did the VFR transition. You can do your instrument rating at the same time as you're working through this. So you can do your instrument rating at Pilotsmith in either the SR22T or the SR20. In this case, you'd purchase either the SR20 Perspective Plus Transition VFR course or the SR22T Perspective Plus Transition course. You would also get the SR20 or, again, SR22T, as appropriate, Perspective Plus Advanced Add-on course as well. So this add-on course is like a little mini course that you'll take at the same time you're pursuing your instrument rating. It will not be done before your instrument rating is completed. It'll be done at the conclusion of your instrument rating. The VFR transition courses that are here on the screen, one of these will be done well before you finish your add-on, because the VFR transitions courses can be completed prior to your instrument rating or before it or during it. It's kind of your choice. We recommend you get it done early in the process because you're going to want to be able to go out and use the aircraft and have fun by yourself without an instructor on board, and you can't rent the aircraft until the VFR transition is complete. So let's say you're already private pilot instrument rated or commercial pilot instrument rated or ATP or whatever else. Then you want the advanced transition training course. So that's a course that has both the VFR and IFR segments combined together. It's a 10 half-day course or 5 full-day course. It's about 13 flight hours and about 4 hours we can do in the AATD here at Pilotsmith. It's approximately 20 hours of one-on-one instruction total time. You got 12 hours of self-study. It's listed in Cirrus Approach as the SR20 Perspective Plus Advanced Transition Training Course. It gives you the ability to fly both VFR and IFR on the Cirrus platform at a Cirrus training center. And you should already be instrument rated if you are getting this course. So now the advanced add-on. We kind of mentioned this a few slides back. If you were doing your instrument rating, you would buy, because you're not instrument rated yet, and you're flying Cirrus, you would buy 2 separate courses. Well, let's say somehow you were already, let's say you decided you got your Cirrus transition training, whatever reason, you went off somewhere and got your instrument rating and now came back and wanted to do the advanced add-on course. You can do that. It's no problem. It's, again, a separate course that you would just get in Cirrus Approach. For us, it'd be the SR20 Perspective Plus Advanced Add-on or the SR22T Perspective Plus Advanced Add-on. It's 4 half days, 2 full days, and it's done if you've previously completed a VFR-only Cirrus transition training course. So let's talk about what these types are, because we threw a lot of things at you. And let's kind of break it down. So training in the Cirrus aircraft is based on the aircraft model and the avionics package that are in the aircraft. If you're trained in a different model or avionics package, there's abbreviated training packages to allow you to use the new equipment or the new model. And we kind of need to go through and look at how that works. So let's first talk about the Cirrus SR models. There's the SR20 with the Continental engine and the Lycoming engine. For us at Pilotsmith, we do consider these to be pretty substantially different. The Continental engine and the Lycoming engine are different enough that we require a person to not necessarily do a transition training course from going one to the other, but we do require a checkout to learn the differences in the engine. There's gotchas in the Continental engine and there's gotchas in the Lycoming engine, and they should be shown to the person the first time by an instructor. Then, of course, there's the SR22, the SR22T, and while the SR22TN is not really a type certificate for the aircraft, it's an supplemental type certificate. It's different enough that it's not an SR22 anymore. It's considered its separate little a separate little type. All right, so let's talk about the avionics packages. So there's the Avidyne R8. You can have that in multiple configurations. It could be a 6-pack with an MFD. It could be a PFD with an MFD and analog backups. Or you could have the Avidyne R9. Now, we don't deal with the Avidyne R9 very much. There's not a ton of those aircraft out there in existence that have made that upgrade. we don't have a CSIP or a TCI who's qualified on the Avidyne R9 platform, just because they don't come up very often. The next we have the Perspective Avionics Suite, which is like what the Cirrus G5 had. It had the Perspective Avionics Suite, and the G6, which has the Perspective Plus. Now, the Perspective is based on the G1000 framework, and the Perspective Plus is based on the G1000 NXI platform. Now, Cirrus has done modifications to those platforms and made them their own, and made them better, but they're kind of based off of them. So if you had G1000 experience, the Perspective will seem somewhat intuitive to you. If you've had G1000 NXI experience, the Perspective Plus will seem somewhat intuitive to you as well. So you are going from one model to another. So the great example here is, let's say you did training in our SR20 G6, and you're advanced transition trained now, and you want to fly the SR22T. You're just going to complete an airframe and power plant differences course in Cirrus Approach. Avionics to avionics in the same model, you're going to complete the avionics differences course. So the situation here is, let's say you flew an SR22 Gen 3 with Avidyne, and now you're flying an SR22 Gen 5 with Perspective. You just complete the appropriate avionics differences course. Those are very simple courses. I'll pull them up for us in just a moment so you can kind of see what they are in Cirrus Approach. All of these courses are on Cirrus Approach, and all this information is on Cirrus Approach as well. But this is to kind of give you the idea of how the process works. So let's talk about avionics and model differences, because this one comes up. So let's say you flew an SR20 Avidyne, and now you want to fly an SR22T Perspective Plus. Our recommendation is to complete a new advanced transition training program in an accelerated manner. Just because it normally takes 10 full days doesn't mean we have to take 10 full days. If you're really good at the aircraft and things like that, this whole course could potentially be completed in 2 days. If you know it, you study hard, and we go through it, and you have previous experience, it's possible to get it done in a quicker manner. And this way it has all the content and items you would need for that airframe and model. Let's talk about Pilotsmith's rental privileges and Cirrus training centers in general. So after you've been checked out in a Cirrus aircraft, there is a one-time 90-day recurrent check. It's essentially pattern work. You go out with an instructor one time to do a skill refresher, and that's the course name on Cirrus Approach. It's required before your next non-dual rental at the 90-day mark. It's approximately 2 hours flying time. On average, it's been about an hour and a half in my experience. The courseware is complimentary from Cirrus to complete the 90-day recurrent check. You just pay for the instructor and the aircraft. You do that, and you maintain your rental privileges. Then and thereafter, every 6 months, there's a recurrent VFR or IFR checks. Now, we can make these flight reviews, we can make them instrument proficiency checks, we can do them any way you want. It's kind of like how the airlines operate. The airlines have their pilots going in for 6-month recurrent training. All of our pilots go in for 6-month recurrent training. They're anywhere from 2 to 3 hours, and we do have the option occasionally using this simulator as well. So our AATD, we could, if you're IFR rated, hey, we could go redo your instrument currency in the sim real quick. Do your 6 approaches and a hold in there. In a couple hours time frame, boom, your instrument current again for another 6 months. Again, this is required by all Cirrus training centers as part of the Cirrus program. So specific to us, let's talk about our SR22T rental requirements. So all customers can fly dual with an instructor in the aircraft. However, to fly without a Pilotsmith instructor, this aircraft has specific requirements. First, you need 25 hours in a Pilotsmith SR aircraft. That could be our Gen 6 SR20, our older, when we used to have it, the Gen 3 SR20, or the previous Gen 6 SR20. It just has to have been a Pilotsmith SR aircraft. You'll then need 10 hours of dual time in the SR-22T. Hey, we're going to make that part of your checkout, so that's no problem. We'll do all that. And in that dual training, just to emphasize, it's going to have practical icing training in there. We'll take you up into the flight levels and teach you how to fly in the flight levels and use oxygen and things like that, and use the actual capabilities of this aircraft, so that you can, you're flying a fast, fully capable aircraft. It's important you understand how to do it. We're going to have at least one 300 nautical mile long one-way cross country on there as well, to really emphasize the training and the capabilities of the aircraft. Get you up there high, have you put an oxygen mask on, use everything. You'll do, if the training was not done with me, then you'll do a final flight check with myself. In order to fly this aircraft FICI, not an US requirement, it's a pilot operating handbook requirement. You have to complete a 24-month FICI course, or flight into known icing course, through Cirrus. That's a requirement of whether you're flying the SR-22T with us or your own SR-22T. It's a operating handbook requirement. It's a limitation that you must attend a FICI course every 24 months. Into course checks. So the into course checks are going to be flown, or are flown, by myself in the school, or if I'm unavailable, an individual I designate. We're going to show you our rates here in a few minutes, and there's a difference between the Platinum CSIP and the regular TCI CSIP rates. But the rates for stage checks and into course checks are always the normal rates. So that if you do your whole program with one of our TCIs, and then you get to your final end of course check, you're not penalized for it in any way. It's the normal rate. It's no problem. It's just to meet our demand. So let's kind of go through now what our rates are, because I know that's a big question people have. And then we'll go through Cirrus Approach and actually take a look at it for you as well. So the hourly rate is, for an instructor, is $100 an hour, but we really kind of recommend the half-day lessons, which is anywhere from 3 to 4 hours in a lesson, and that's $300 for half day. That's actually how the Cirrus transition training curriculum was designed, was to be done in half-day lessons or full-day lessons. It has, each lesson is essentially a half-day, how they have it broken down in time. So that's the recommended route, but hey, that doesn't work for everyone, so no problem. We can do it hourly. Like the 90-day check, I mean, that's 1.5, 2 hours maximum. So there's no point in doing a full half day for something like that. The full day rate is $5.50 an hour. We can make this into trips and all kinds of stuff, and we can make the training fit your lifestyle. If you really want to have a trip where you learn how to fly to a specific airport that you plan on doing on a routine basis, hey, we can do that. If you need to do something while you're there, that's totally fine as well. It's just going to be a bona fide training trip, and we'll make that experience for you happen. These are our Platinum TCI rates over here. You see it's a little bit more, but again, if you're doing an end of course check or a stage check or something to that, the normal TCI rates do apply. All right, let's remember, these are where you send your questions in, help@pilotsmith.com. I'll be pulling up that in a few minutes to look at them, but I'm going to take you guys into Cirrus Approach and show you the Cirrus Approach portal. Now, yours is going to look a little bit different than mine, but hey, it should be close enough. So this is Cirrus Approach right here. So the website, very simply, www.cirrusapproach.com. We head to this site. We'll reach over here. We'll log in, register for an account. You'll have the option here if you're not registered to create an account. My account's already created, so I'm just going to log in straight away. We're now in the Cirrus Approach corner, or portal. The top left-hand corner of the screen has where we're going to go for being able to access our content. So I want to go into my courses, and I'll be able to see all the courses I have in my portal if I was going to be pursuing them. And actually, maybe I should step up just one step here and show you where you would find courses that you were looking for. So let's actually go to the learning catalog. So let's say you wanted to do that SR20 transition training course we were talking about earlier. So we could click over here on the avionics tab and say, hey, we want to do, since we're doing it in Pilotsmith, and Pilotsmith has the newest Cirrus Perspective Plus, we'd hit Cirrus Perspective Plus here. And then on this training course over here, we would go ahead and scroll down to the transition courses. And here we are. So we have the different ones here. Perspective Plus, again, remember these are the VFR only ones. And then click the appropriate one, SR20 Perspective Plus Transition. And here is our course. So self-study, avionics, familiarization. Let's kind of look through this real quick and see if we can't take a look at one of these courses so we can see what it looks like. So let's go ahead and continue on. Starts off in here, you got your syllabus overview that talks about how the different legs in the courseware works. So right here it's showing you what a flight might look like, takeoff, climb out. You're doing a series of maneuvers, potentially some instruments, some abnormal maneuvers, specialty stuff, and then some sort of CAPS scenario, and of course it concludes with the landing. It'll show you through what's involved in each assessment, and you can see your grading and how you performed with the instructor and things like that as well. This kind of walks through it. You see your instructor will actually go through and mark through why something was missed, why something or what needs to be repeated or deferred to the next lesson. In the beginning lessons of the course, everything is practice. So you don't have to perform it, which means if you miss because you do something wrong, it's still completed and we move on. At the very end of the course, everything becomes to the perform model, and at your various stage checks, things become to the perform model where you actually have to be able to do it without assistance or making a mistake. No big deal. But here, let's kind of take a look at some of their videos here. Let me see if I can share my audio from my computer here real quick. Audio output capture. Desktop audio. Alright, just put the desktop audio in there. Let's click one of these to getting to know your PFD.
The graphical flight instruments are the focal point of your PFD. All of your essential flight information is displayed and organized to support an efficient and effective instrument scan. Working clockwise around the PFD, your indicated airspeed is displayed on a moving airspeed tape that is color-coded to match the airspeed limitations associated with your Cirrus, while ground speed and true airspeed are conveniently located just below, at the bottom of the airspeed tape. A magenta line, or airspeed trend vector, extends either above or below the indicated airspeed window, giving you a quick trending snapshot of where your airspeed will be in the next 6 seconds. A quick and easy way to give your situational awareness a considerable boost is to overlay V-speed reference flags onto the airspeed tape. To do this, press the soft key aligned with Timer Ref, and then toggle the V-speed flags on or off. Moving to the center of the PFD, the attitude indicator shows pitch, roll, and yaw or slip skid information. Pitch markings are provided every 2.5 degrees and labeled every 5 degrees, while roll is marked at 10, 20, 30, 45, and 60 degrees of bank. Now, if your pitch becomes excessive, so 50 degrees up or 30 degrees down, red warning chevrons display, and the display is slightly simplified, so all of your focus can be placed on righting that unusual attitude. If your Cirrus has the optional Garmin Electronic Stability and Protection System, known as ESP, you may notice a double tick mark at 45 degrees, and this is the roll limit indicator. When your bank angle reaches the roll limit indicator, the autopilot will gently add pressure to nudge your angle of bank back to about 30 degrees. ESP is interrupted anytime the red autopilot disconnect button is held or when manually disabled on the MFD. Beneath the roll pointer is a slip skid indicator that slides laterally, left or right, to indicate your quality of turn, telling you the degree.
Alright, that's what one of the videos looks like. I only wanted to do a few minutes of it. You'll get these videos in their entirety when you purchase the courseware from Cirrus Approach. If you're buying an airplane, you may be able to get these through the Embark program. It's an amazing program that you can participate in that can give you some of the Cirrus training that you need. But we're focusing mostly on the rental of our aircraft and going through our Cirrus program. I mean, our personal recommendation is go through and do your whole private pilot in this Cirrus program, and then that'll be what you've known from the get-go. But not everyone has done that, and they've started in different platforms. So this kind of gives you the pathway for you to be able to get going in Cirrus right away. So, looking over here at our questions real quick, let's see if we got any coming in. I must have did a good job. I don't see a single question. Well, awesome then. I'd like to thank everyone for your time today and tuning in for this. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us by email, and we'll take care of them and get them to you back right away. Take care. Bye-bye.